Thought it was downstairs.
Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Cumberland School Committee special meeting this evening, Wednesday, January 28, 2026 at 5:37 p.m. Please stand for pledge of allegiance. Allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion.
Motion by Ms. Shea. Second. Second by Ms. Feather. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That passes 6-0. Let's state for the record that Ms. Smith is absent this evening. Old business. Agenda A. Discussion and a vote on motion to rescind the committee's decision at its January 8th, 2026 meeting on the process for approving construction change orders up to $25,000, which was described as follows on the agenda. Discussion and a vote to authorize the superintendent to bind the committee to change orders of up to $25,000 per change order on current construction projects. Said authorization shall be granted through December 30th, 2026, unless renewed or terminated by the committee. Pleasure of the committee.
I'll make a motion to rescind it.
A motion to rescind the decision on January 8th. Do I have a second? Second.
We'll have a discussion.
Yep, second. Motion by Ms. Feather, second by Ms. Goldstein. Discussion? Mr. Dean?
Yeah, so you were at the meeting where the mayor got on the soapbox and had a discussion with the town council about,
I wasn't there when the mayor spoke. I was only there when I spoke and then left.
did you speak to the mayor about it at all?
About this?
Yeah,
No.
no, before or after? So,
I can't, not that I know of, no.
so Dr. Thornton, and I'm asking because I don't know, Dr. Thornton, is he acting as a superintendent when he does these $25,000 change orders, or is he acting as a member of the construction committee?
So my understanding, but I might have you all speak to it for the nuances if I don't know what I'm saying. My understanding is he is a representative of the building committee as well as the superintendent. And to get these change orders done with a $25,000 cap, in the world of change orders, if they have to meet every time, it'll slow down the process, therefore affecting the timeline. And the last thing we want is BF Norton to be stalled in any way. And this $25,000 change order amendment, I think you call it, resolution, has been in place, I think, since we received an email since 2018. Yep. Yeah, so this exact change order process, I think Melanie sent that out a few months ago. So if I'm wrong with the year, please, someone interrupt me and say that's incorrect. We've had the same process since 2018.
Okay, so personally, I have no strong feelings about the change order. I think it's a good idea to have somebody be able to make those decisions. I was pretty much silent at the first meeting until it became apparent that they wanted to put, the committee was leaning toward putting a limit on it. And then I came up with, to help with some verbiage. But, you know, it was kind of going that way before. But since it passed, and the mayor, you know, mentioned this and had a discussion with the town council at the council meeting, the mayor said that this is the town council's, that they're the funding authority anyway, so that they could overrule us or they could take it over. Why don't we just let them do that?
I can't speak to the town council meeting at all because I wasn't there. The only thing I can speak to is the school committee, and the process has been put in place since 2018. That has been very effective to open all these schools and buildings on time. And right now, because we're on our last big project, if that did work so well, why would we change anything that was going well? That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I understand. I'm just putting out there that you know, it was said that we're not even the funding authority anyway. So
I can't.
that's, you know.
Yeah, I can't speak to town council stuff. I think Ms. Goldstein then Mr. Bacon. Ms. Goldstein, did you? Okay, I'm just kidding.
I'm taking notes.
Mr. Bacon.
So, I think, I don't know, maybe I'm going to bring some clarity to Jason's point. I think, yeah, the town council does authorize the funding for the project, but we have the ultimate decision. You know, the building committee and the school committee have the decision on our school that's being built at the end of the day. From my perspective, I couldn't speak on the meeting, which was extremely painful, because there was a change order that was tied to it that I believe that my work was involved in. So now that it's a separated item, I can speak on it. So from my perspective, well, this is just the truth of change orders. If a change order sits idly for an extended period of time, not only is it extremely cost effective to a project, but it slows down the project at length. So this change order could have gone, where are we already at now? 2 weeks behind? A week?
For this particular change
This
order?
particular change order?
So since Collier's received it, that was on January 2nd. But
January
this has
2nd.
been happening in the background for a few weeks now.
So for a few weeks that this was delayed, right? Now that, in my line of work, that could cost upwards of $300,000, a change order that would then come to us, right, to the committee and say, you know, a certain company was there performing a type of work, we couldn't get them the answer in quick enough time, they're extremely busy, they had to pull off of the job site, now we need to pay them to come back again.
Okay, but you mean the delay of not getting the change order answer?
Signed, correct.
Okay, thanks.
So that delays the whole project, and it could, I'm not saying this is that case, I'm just saying
Potential.
it has happened before, right? So there's always a potential for that. So when I was speaking with Dr. Thornton, something that he expressed to me was it goes to the building committee approves it, which I believe he said there's 2 people and himself on the committee that they look at these change orders, they dissect them, they get all the information, and I think that's right, Heather. That's what Dr. Thornton and I were talking about. You guys all get it, you guys all see it, but I think before that, there's 3 of them that really go through it, they understand it, yup, they green light it, you guys hear about it on the committee, you guys like it, and then it gets brought to us, and I believe we then sign it. Or that's how it would go. We're taking all those steps out.
Mhm.
If, from what he was explaining to me, and I think it's great, if the building committee hears it and it's great, why are we gonna prolong this anymore? The less amount of time, the better. You know, the project, it's gotta keep going in a timely manner. We don't need any delays, so that's all I really.
Any discussion, Ms. Shea?
I just want to add also too, is that if there is any type of delay, that goes ahead and puts us in position for a risk of like not being reimbursed by RIDE. Like that's huge for the town.
Because you have to be substantially complete by a certain
They
date
have
to
to stay in
receive funding.
compliance for state funding, correct. So I would just like to also add in that I agree with Ms. Feather and Ms. Goldstein about having them.
To rescind it, yeah, to rescind it. Mr. Dean?
Great. So as I said, I agree with the having somebody make the quick judgment on the change orders. In my previous career, I was in charge of a lot of construction projects, and we had one person that made those decisions. We didn't have to go to a committee, so we never had somebody that had authorization because it was one person. I can see where having to get a committee together would cause delays. Again, I had no strong feelings at the last meeting, and you know I agree with you that we have to get these change orders done in some instances as fast as possible. My issue is the fact that we as a committee made a decision, just like we made the school start time decision, and then the next week, the next meeting, we're back on there rescinding the school start time decision because the mayor came out, made a bunch of phone calls and talked to a bunch of us about what a bad idea that is. And then we made this decision, and now the mayor goes to a council meeting and starts saying how we're not getting along with them because they used to have a good working relationship, and now here we are rescinding that. So like you said, we should have the final say on our schools, but if the mayor just goes out and says, I don't like the decision you made, I'm going to rescind your decision with the town council. If you guys don't rescind it yourself, then why bother
In all
making
candor,
decisions?
again, I wasn't at that. I was at the beginning of the meeting, giving my report out.
It
did not-
starts at 34 minutes into it.
Yeah, I think I was long gone. So when the mayor spoke, I can't speak to that. I can speak to last week when they were trying to make a meeting date and how frustrating it got in the administrative process of getting the meeting date. Members were asked 1, 2, 3 times if they could make a meeting date. So the administrative burden on the superintendent's office was really when someone asked for this, I was like, I can see this clearly now, because I wasn't at that meeting in January 8th, so I wasn't even there to participate. But after seeing this play out in process, the administrative burden on the superintendent's office, the burden on, and I don't mean this against us, we all do a great job, but the burden on us trying to coordinate us all to get here. And there was no process formalized, like, okay, if you reach out one time and you have this date, so now we're all sitting here in this really weird situation, pushing, like you said, Mr. Megan, correctly, pushing things out, costing us more money. And since it was working well since 2018, in my opinion, if there was a big hiccup between then and now, yes, let's reframe it, let's figure it out. But I haven't heard that from anyone, and people did ask me to put this back on the agenda, so I'm assuming everyone felt, not everyone, people felt similar that things would get installed unnecessarily. I'm not trying to put words in people's mouths, but.
And for the sake of transparency, Jason, I contacted Ms. Vogel and said that we need to have this. We need to have a discussion again about this because I was not able to get information that I had out because I recused myself because there was a change order time that was tied to it, right? So I contacted Ms. Vogel and said that we need to have this discussion. It wasn't because, you know, the mayor was talking at the town council. I haven't even listened to it, I haven't even watched it. This was specifically, I felt, maybe others felt the same, we needed to have this discussion, you know?
Like I said, I agree with that. And had the committees been going that direction that night, I would have agreed with that too. Had they not put any restrictions on it, I would have voted to give the superintendent the $25,000 approval.
Yeah.
But I was sitting there flying the wall and it kind of took its own, you know, developed its own, restrictions. I forget who exactly said it, but then they started coming on. I just offered the verbiage, which I thought was accurate or to what they wanted, and then we all approved it. I just the process in which it happened, and I agree with you. You know, you said you wanted to rehear it because it caused delays. I actually saw the email. I said, yeah, I have no problem. I sent you an email. I said, no, I have no problem rehearing this. And again, I have no strong opposition to rescinding it, and I agree with the $25,000 limit. I just, like I said, didn't agree with the process to which we got here and how we always seem to get here. Every time something is approved by the committee that somebody doesn't like, the mayor or the superintendent, we rehear it the next meeting.
Again, I don't think that it's this, I hear what you're saying, but I think in this case, Jason, I was the one that contacted Amy about it. I think we're mixing up two different scenarios. You know, I contacted Ms. Vogel about it, you know.
Yeah, and honestly, again, not to say, I'll say it one more time, it was the administrative process that I saw happening and the time it was taking from people in the superintendent's office and all of our time. And I was like, if this is just for one, what if it's 5, 10, 15 of them, and how long will that process take? And how much time do we have literally to open the school? So I don't just, but I'm done with saying that. Anyone else? Ms. Goldstein.
Thank you. I appreciate Mr. Bacon talking about your work experience. And I'm glad that you're here tonight. For
Glad
that
you're here
very
too.
reason. I think that what you'll learn about me sometimes is that when I make a mistake, I own it. So I made a mistake 2 weeks ago. I thought I was doing something that had all of a sudden all of these unintended consequences. We slowed down the process. I saw Melanie Santos trying over and over again to get a quorum, which slowed down the process of hearing the change order. I'm seeing tension in relationships with building committee, town, mayor. I rely on the building committee. I want to be clear about that. And I rely on what they have vetted and what gets brought to us so that I can make a decision. And so I am very clearly changing my vote or voting to rescind, however the motion is worded, because I think that I did not intend to put roadblocks up to a process, so I apologize.
Any other discussion? Okay, I have a motion by,
Quick
yes, of
Quick
course.
question, so if we do vote and this is rescinded, new business, that's null and void then, correct? That's automatically.
Well, once we rescind this, yep,
Okay.
you kind of missed a step,
That's okay.
but your train of thought is going in the correct way. We have to then approve the new one. Susan?
When you're done, can I just add in some context then?
Yes, do you want to say now or after?
Whenever.
Okay, we'll rescind, or whatever the committee decides. You can speak, and then we have to approve and vote, approve or disapprove, vote to the next one. It's basically we're doing it.
Right, I'm just saying, if the $25,000 change order, if we rescind that, that automatically gives the
Yes.
superintendent.
So that would be moot.
So that would mean then that,
It's become moot. It's done. We don't-
correct, we're good, we're gonna talk about it.
Yeah, if we do it A
Correct,
and
got it,
B. Yeah.
understood.
Okay. So, you want to speak before we vote?
If I can.
Of
So,
course.
Megan Havrillo with Colliers. So I was here for a few years, and when we really needed to implement this higher approval rate for Dr. Thornton. So what we did, to be fully transparent, was that Dr. Thornton, a change order would come in, a PCO, potential change order, it would come in. So knowing that maybe we didn't have a building committee meeting scheduled in the near future, so we already had 2 designated representatives with the building committee. So it was Mark Fiorillo, so he's got a long-standing history with the building committee, school committee. And then we also had Mark Lindgren, so he also had that construction background. So we did pick these 2 members for a reason, and we did approach them first before making them the 2 selected individuals. So when a change order would come in, I would send it to Mark, both Marks, Mark Fiorillo, Mark Lindgren. I would copy in Dr. Thornton, and then at the time it would have been Alex Prignano or it was Tim. So I would write a narrative of what this was being presented for initial approval, and then obviously include the cost. We would go back and forth with any questions they may have, or maybe they didn't. And so then once the 2 marks said okay, then Dr. Thornton would give an approval through an email. We would then send that email to the contractor as a form of, here's your official authorization to proceed. But what we wouldn't, authorization to proceed with the work, but we wouldn't ever issue the next step, which would be payment, until we presented that PCO at an actual building committee meeting, okay? So we got that initial approval to get the work started, but then to have the official change order approved to then pay for it, it wouldn't be until we officially presented that at that next building committee meeting. So full transparency along the way, once building committee approved, it stopped right there. It didn't go beyond to school committee because that wasn't, that cost was not in excess above your project budget. So you had the contingency to cover it. If we were at a situation where there was not enough funding in your project budget, that's a different conversation where we'd have to go to the school committee and say, this is the situation that we're in. Obviously, that wasn't the case, but that was the process. It worked pretty smooth, and it was able to really keep the projects moving, but then it was also the ability for us to say, like, we need to have a meeting, we've got these 5 change orders to, get off our list of to-dos, and then we got it done, moved on. So it worked pretty well. Certainly, I was helping Anne Marie and just explaining the process that we went through. So, but it was the right thing to ask the question and kind of just challenge the process if you're new. So this is a common practice amongst other school districts too, and some of them choose to go right to the superintendent. Sometimes they choose not to go to the building committee. Sometimes they choose to just go direct to the CFO and superintendent. It's ultimately your decision, but this is the process that has been pretty successful in Cumberland.
Thank you so much for that feedback.
Yeah.
Much appreciated. So we have a motion to rescind the committee's decision at its January 8th, 2026 meeting. Motion by Ms. Golds, Ms. Feather, second by Ms. Goldstein. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes 6-0. Next, we have discussion and a vote to authorize the superintendent to bind the committee to change order of up to $25,000 per change order on current construction projects. Said authorization shall be granted through December 30th, 2026, unless renewed or terminated by the committee. Pleasure of the committee.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Bacon,
Second.
second by Ms. Shea, thank you, I didn't. Second by Ms. Shea, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That passes 6-0. New business is now moot due to the above vote, so we will not be doing anything with the new business this evening. Comments from the public? Okay. Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Bacon. Second by Ms. Feather, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes 6-0.